No one was supposed to live beyond the Ashleen forest. That was what every map said. That was what every survivor said. The forest began where the world had burned. Blackened trees, floating ash, gravity distortions. Jonah Hale crossed into it anyway. He was not brave. He was tired. The war between realms had ended 10 years ago. Humanity had survived. Barely. Orcs, elves, machine gods, reality fractures. All of it had collapsed into treaties and ruins. Jonah had been a logistics engineer, not a soldier, not a hero, but his sister had vanished near the Ashleen dot. So he walked the forest air bent strangely. Sound arrived late. Shadows moved ahead of objects. That was when he heard the groan, low, strained, angry. Jonah followed it. Between two colossal trees hung a figure, upside down, bound by glowing chains of violet light. A giant orc. Girl, she was at least 10 feet tall. Green skin marked with old scars. Tusks chipped from past battles. Muscles like carved stone. Blood ran toward her head. Her eyes were open, alert, burning. She growled when she saw him. Human, the word carried. Weight, history, hatred. Jonah froze. He raised his hands slowly. I am not armed. That was a lie. But the pistol stayed. HOLSTERED. The chains hummed. They were not physical. They were spell constructs. Jonah recognized the pattern. Ancient, Dominion magic, pre-war. No modern force could cast that. Who did this to you? Jonah asked. The orc laughed bitterly. Your allies. Jonah flinched. We have no allies left. Lies, she said. Humans always lie. She struggled. The chains tightened. She hissed in pain. Jonah stepped closer. I can try to disable them. Do not, she snapped. They feed on intent. If you hesitate, they will kill me. Jonah swallowed. Then tell me how. The orc stared at him. Her gaze searched his face. Finally, she spoke. Break the anchor runes. At the roots, Jonah knelt. The runes pulsed like hearts. Old magic. Cruel magic. He pulled a disruptor spike from his pack. Human tech. Simple. Ugly. He slammed it into the first rune. The forest screamed. Reality folded. Jonah nearly blacked out. The second rune shattered. Then the third. The chains dissolved. The giant orc fell. Jonah jumped back. She hit the ground hard, enough to shake the forest. Dust rose. Silence followed. Then she sat up. She looked at her hands. Her wrists, free. She stared at Jonah. He expected rage, violence, death. Instead, she did something impossible. She bowed low, deep, Orcish. My life is yours, she said. Jonah blinked. No, he said quickly. I do not want that. Too late, she replied. A life debt binds deeper than blood. That is not how humans work. She smiled slightly. That is why this is interesting. She stood up close. She was enormous, towering, power. Incarnate. I am Gratka of the Stonebound, she said. Champion of the 7th War Host. Jonah felt cold. That name was legend. The 7th War Host had shattered 3 cities. You were declared dead. I was betrayed, Gratka said. Bound and offered to something older. She looked around. This forest is wrong. Jonah nodded. That is why I am here, he told her. About his sister, about disappearances, about the ashline whispers. Grathka listened. Her expression darkened. The chains were not meant to kill me, she said. They were bait. For what? For you. The ground trembled. Something moved beneath the soil. Roots pulled back. Stone cracked. A presence emerged. Not a creature. A concept. The forest bent inward. A voice spoke from everywhere. Det acknowledged. Jonah felt his bones vibrate. What is that? He asked. Grathka stepped in front of him. The Arbiter, she said. A pre-reality judge. It enforces ancient contracts. The air thickened. Human, the Arbiter said. You have violated a sealed execution. Jonah's mind raced. I freed a prisoner, he said. That is not a crime. In this realm, the Arbiter replied. Mercy creates imbalance. Grathka growled, I was unlawfully bound. Law predates you, the Arbiter said. Jonah stepped forward. He did not know why. Maybe exhaustion, maybe. Anger, then judge me, he said. The forest went. Still, the Arbiter focused on him. A human challenges. Arbitration, yes, Jonah said. Under human law, silence. Then something surreal happened. The Arbiter hesitated. That was impossible. Human. Law had no weight here. But Jonah felt something. Activate his neural implant. Burned old code. Dormant code. A forgotten clause. The human survival accord. A last resort protocol. Any human may invoke judgment if acting to preserve sentient life. The Arbiter recoiled. Impossible, it said. Your kind forfeited authority. Jonah stood taller. We forfeited dominance, he said. Not responsibility. The ground cracked. The Arbiter flickered. Grathka stared. What are you? She whispered. I am human, Jonah said. That used to mean something. The Arbiter screamed, not in pain. In recalculation, judgment accepted, it said. Det shifts. Reality snapped. The forest vanished. Jonah and Grathka stood on white stone beneath a sky of symbols. The Arbiter hovered before them. Life debt acknowledged, it said. Binding redirected. It turned to Jonah. You freed a warrior, it said. Now you carry her burden. Jonah felt weight settle into his chest. Grathka gasped. No, she said. Take me instead. Too late, the Arbiter replied at dissolve. The world returned. The forest breathed. Again, Jonah fell to his knees. Grathka caught him. Her hands were surprisingly gentle. What did it do to you? She asked. Jonah laughed weakly. I think, he said. It made me responsible. For what? For fixing this mess. She stared at him, then she laughed. A deep sound. A human with an orc-life debt and an ancient mandate, she said. The realms will tremble. Jonah looked up at the broken sky. I just want my sister back. Grathka helped him stand. Then we will find her, she said. Together, they began walking. Behind them, the ashline forest shifted. Paths opened. Threats withdrew. Something had changed. The world had noticed. Humans were not dominant anymore. They were not strongest. They were not oldest. But they still chose. They still intervened. They still said no. And the universe remembered why that mattered. Asterisk.